Today, we are going to talk about the 4 steps to turn your clients into your best free marketing strategy ever. I think it's so fucking powerful to turn anyone from a client into a raving fan. But just remember that people refer when they have what I call in terms of our client journey. The first thing to note, it's not, but the most important thing is
Welcome to Swift Coaches Academy, a podcast dedicated to bringing health and wellness professionals the uncensored truth behind what it really takes to succeed in the health industry with me, your host, Xenia Wood. As an accredited exercise physiologist and business owner for almost a decade, I'm on a mission to transform the lives of ambitious health professionals like you who want more and are ready to take action to create incredible impact in your careers and unlock financial freedom in your business. So join me as I speak candidly with industry leaders about the struggles and successes from within the trenches through thought-provoking conversations.
Welcome back to another episode of Swift Coaches Academy. Life update before we dive in. I was actually sick the other week for the first time in genuinely, I think since COVID. So I think I got that probably like once or twice when I was traveling quite a bit. And thank God it was after I competed on Ninja Warrior. Backstory, competed on Ninja Warrior in 2022. And you had to get like tested every single time you went into the arena holding area, because obviously if you had it, you had to go home, you couldn't give it to anyone else and whatever. And I actually, on the way home after I slipped on the first obstacle in the semifinals, my heats was amazing. I might actually link that in the show notes because honestly, like just edge of your seat material. It got 1 million views, my heats run for Ninja Warrior in season 6, and I'm very proud of it. And I trained really fucking hard for that. So I'm gonna pop that in the show note link as well. Where was I going with this? In terms of being sick, right? It knocked me a little bit. So I have just been doing what I needed to, delegating to my team, and then like taking a couple of like half days, and I just felt a little bit brain foggy, and that has not happened for me in a while. So if you are feeling that too, then there is stuff going around, because I definitely am of the belief that there's so many things in your life that you can do for your health to prevent getting sick. And I try to do as many of those as possible. But sometimes it hits us, right? Or we're feeling a bit more stressed or a little bit more, agitated or whatever's going on in our life. And we can get sick. And sometimes our immune system's just not strong enough. So that happened to me recently, but I am back. So today we are going to talk about the 4 steps to turn your clients into your best free marketing strategy ever. So we're going to talk about optimizing the client journey. Now, the client journey is a paid practical masterclass that I give for free to anyone who signs up to the Biz Academy program. But I'm going to run you through like the skeleton framework of what we went through, because the model that I created for this, I think is so fucking powerful to turn anyone from a client into a raving fan, so that they basically become your marketing for you, and you don't have to then be so heavy on the sales and the marketing front, the front end of your business, because you're delivering such an incredible service that everyone loves and wants to tell everyone else about. So in terms of our client journey, the first thing to note, it's not enough to just get the results you promise. Now, I don't care if you say that you're going to get people like to 5% body fat and the leanest ever and feel fucking on top of the world. If that's what you promise, you need to deliver over and above that, right? So it's not to say like downsell your promise if you can absolutely do that, but make sure you're going above and beyond what you say you can deliver, okay? You need to give them more than they expect of you. That's really important. And the best marketing strategy is just having a program so damn fucking good that people cannot help but it's almost like word vomit. Like they have to tell people about it. That is the best marketing strategy in my opinion, especially when one person joins and they tell more than one person who signs up. So one person tells two people who sign up, then that's just going to grow and breed, and you're going to have thousands of people in your program. So the reason this doesn't happen is because people don't follow this 4-step process, and it can always be better, right? I work with coaches who are at 10K months, and I work with coaches who are literally doing 100K months, and the same shit applies. It's just iteration, next level at whatever this is for you. So we're going to talk about that 4-step process that I created now. First step is retain. Second step is refer. Third step is renew. And fourth step is raving fan. So we're going to take our clients from onboarding them and retaining them all the way through to becoming a raving fan of yours. Okay. So first step, let's dive into retain. This is where we want to do a couple of things. So retention starts really before they sign up with you. It starts in the sales process and how we articulate to them what's going to happen. This is where we get to set expectations, because if you sign up with someone and then you hear radio silence for the next 24 hours even, right? Like they might be like, what the fuck? I just paid the money and now they're not even talking to me. And especially if the communication level up until that point was quite frequent, and then they just drop off and almost like you ghost them as you ghost your clients. As soon as they pay you the money, your clients are going to be like, bro, what? Like you just spoke to me and talked to me about all these things and helped me overcome objections, and now you've ghosted me, and it kind of feels like you were just doing a bit of a sales thing and you're not actually here to help me. So setting expectations and making sure they match and mirror at least what you were doing before they became a client of yours, ideally more, okay? So that's just not in terms of touch points, but it's also in terms of going, okay, the next steps or what's going to happen from here. You'll expect to hear from us in, 24 hours. We're going to send you these emails. I need you to log into this. I need you to do this, or like our first session is going to be here, or what is that process for them? Because they're going to be nervous. They're going to be probably a bit excited, but nervous. What's happening? There's so many new things that they're about to experience. And if you can help to set the expectations and set up what that's going to look like for them, that's going to lower their guard. They're going to feel like, oh, this was a good decision, right? Because pretty sure in like Australian consumer law, if someone, I think it's like 24 or 48 hours, there's a cooling off period. So if someone like doesn't like it, they can come back and be like, yo, don't want this, or I want out of this. Depending on, don't quote me, not a lawyer, obviously, but it is really important in the first 48 hours. There's research that shows that people who complete their onboarding process in the first 48 hours are 40% less likely to leave. Okay, so that could mean they need to sign into an app. That could mean that they need to log their first meal. That could mean that they need to complete their first workout, whatever that is, right? You want to get them to do that as soon as possible after they say yes and they sign up and you take payment and you onboard them, because that is what helps with retention. It starts at the very, very first second, really, after they make the sale. And so helping them feel comfortable in that is going to be really, really important. The first 48 hours also really matter, because this is where you want to flood them with value. You want to give them a ton of encouragement. You want to congratulate them and acknowledge them for the decision that they made to step up and, help them improve their own health or their well-being or whatever, knowing and appreciating that it can be a little bit scary or daunting, but you've got them. Okay. Then you also want to deliver on your promises. Spoke about this just a little minute ago, but making sure that you're actually doing what you say you're going to do. If you say you're going to bring them the program in 24 hours, make sure that you get that done. Really, really important that we're at least delivering on our promises. Obviously, we ideally want to over deliver, but worst case scenario, delivering on our promises. And that is going to set us up for excellent retention and retaining them throughout the program that we have signed them up for. So, reminder, recap of retain. Set the expectations with the clients early. Deliver on the promises, and remember that the first 48 hours matter. Those are the first 3 things. You may want to write those down. Next step is refer. So the next thing that we ideally want people to do is to refer someone else to us. So you might have seen this when people sign up to a gym. Sometimes they say, awesome, we'll give you a free hat and towel and water bottle if you write 3 names on here of other friends who might want to join the gym, right? So they're already starting the referral process because that's typically when you're feeling most excited about the program, ready to go, and you're feeling really good about it. So we can start the referral process there. There's so many other ways and methods of asking for referrals or communicating that or having them automated or having them manually happen where you actually just ask your clients how to do this. So many different ways. But the most important thing is you don't get what you don't ask for. So you need to be asking for these referrals. I know it sounds so silly, it sounds so simple, but I want you to have a think. When was the last time you asked every single one of your clients for a referral? Okay. Now, if you're like, but what do I say, Xenia? Or like, how do I say it? Or I feel a bit weird or awkward, I've got you. We have our client journey practical masterclass that you can get access to. It's going to be in the link in the show notes, and it's going to take you through like word for word. We have scripts in there. We have how you can make automated, evergreen, and manual referral asks so that you're catching people at different times in their life cycle and different times in the client journey and in different ways as well. So there's manual prompts and there's automated prompts as well. These are all available for you in that practical masterclass. It's also referred to, well, I refer to it, I created the golden triangle. So for asking for referrals, there's a golden triangle that we talk about in our Biz Academy of the methods of asking for referrals and then how to actually go about those as well. But just remember that people refer when they have what I call the KLT factor, the know, like, and trust factor of you, which if they've just signed up with you, they should feel all those things. It's also that people refer when they get great results and when it's great value for money and when you're seen as the authority in the space. Okay, so have a think about perhaps you do have the KLT factor with your clients, which you ideally should, but do you get them great results? Could you get them better results, right? Is it value for money? I'm not saying is it cheap. I'm saying based on the outcomes that you get, is it value for money? Okay. And then are you an authority in the space, or how could you position yourself better as an authority in the space, position yourself with other brand experts or other professionals in a similar setting? Okay. Because that's who people refer to. So having a think about that. Third step for the client journey is called renew. This is where we're doing renewals. So I used to stuff this up all the time. And what I would do is I would wait to talk about renewing a program. Let's say it was 12-week or 12-month, doesn't really matter. But I would wait until like the last 3 to 4 weeks and then be like, oh, okay, like let's talk about re-signing or whatever. And by that point, I've found that almost everyone has already made their own internal decision. And once people make a decision, it is human nature, it is human psychology for us to want to reinforce our own decision. So if we can catch people earlier before they've made that decision, especially if they've already spoken to someone else about it and then, verbalized out loud their decision, we can help to influence and impact that and make sure they make the best result for them. Remember, it's a client-centered approach. If the best result is not continuing to work with you, that's totally cool. But let's make sure that we are clear and we're having those conversations early. This also comes to what I call future pacing. So future pacing is where throughout the entire program of a client working with you, you want to be future pacing and continuing to paint the vision. I was talking to a couple of our students in our Biz Academy program recently, and they were saying, when I go on holidays, I tend to have a bit of a drop off of clients when I come back, and I'm just not really sure what to do about it. And I sort of said to them, well, it starts with, before you go away, it starts with the future pacing, and it starts with making sure that the whole time you're painting the vision for what their future transformation is going to be. Okay. And so let's say you do a really good job of that in the first phase or first program, and they're coming up to renewal and you're like, cool, want to continue? And it's like just this really ambiguous thing. And you just assume that they understand and they know the value and they see the value and it's, they just get it. But articulating that the whole time, not just at that one conversation, is really important. So when you're talking about other things with your clients in your sessions, you're continually future pacing and painting the vision for their dream outcome that is in the future. It's not at the end of the first phase of programming, so that you can continue to push that back and continue to support them long term. Now, this obviously depends on, like, if you're a surgeon, you don't want to continue to push that time frame back and be like, oh, you need another surgery. No, but that's also why you charge, thousands of dollars for like one appointment or one surgery, right? Because you don't really have a lot of return clients. Okay, so we're not trying to renew people if you're a surgeon, but if you're in health and you work with nutrition, you work with exercise, you work with something that's going to be long-term or ongoing, or you can help them achieve their next result as well. Really important. So let's say that you work in the rehab space, which I do, and you have a program that is rehab. What happens at the end of the rehab? Do they go to someone else? Do they just go back to the gym? Or can you also support them in terms of their wellness or their performance journey? And when are you articulating that? Because the sooner you start talking about this, and I mean like before they come in for the initial sales call, before they work with you ever. If you're talking about like, hey, it's a bit of a journey with us, and that's in your messaging and your marketing, people know that there's something else coming, and maybe they just sign up for the rehab portion right now, but you're continuing to sort of push out and talk about what the next step is. And we're not always going to be able to renew everyone. Not everyone's going to be right ongoing for us, but articulating and being able to ascend clients or continue to at least maintain or retain clients and renew them, I should say, is going to be really helpful for obviously recurring revenue for your business, but ideally the outcome of the client, right? Like the long-term outcome of the client. So let's say that, you work with clients to get them out of pain, and you also have the skill set to be able to improve their general health and well-being and weight loss, right? And so talking about the weight loss side of things when they're still in the rehab phase is going to be a really critical part to future pace these people, but also help to create either an ascension ladder so they go up, and that's typically like in the level or quality of service, but also in the price point. Or they could go horizontally, so it could be same price point, but it's different service. Or they could actually downgrade, right? Like they might have an intensive part up front where it's like 1-to-1, which I'm doing this with one of our students at the moment. She's currently got a model where she brings them in and she does intensive 1-to-1 work with them in their rehab phase and then transitions them into a group model. Okay, so it's great for the client because they're staying on board, but they don't need that high touch point anymore, and she can still support them ongoing. So you can ascend, you can horizontally move people through, or you can descend a client. Obviously, you can refer them to someone else as well. But if we're talking about within your business, do you have an ascension model? Do you have a level up from what you're doing right now? Not just in terms of like more sessions, more time for money. I'm talking about like a higher end service or more value, more opportunity. Could they also get nutrition coaching as well as exercise stuff? Could they also get, like additional systems, processes built out to serve them for their meal plans or, whatever it is for them as your client. So third one we spoke about is renew, which is making sure that we future pace people. We talk about this probably, I would be going between 4 and 8 weeks out from the end of their program. And do we have a ladder, whether that's ascending, going horizontally, or descending them so that they have somewhere to go after that initial program? Okay. And the fourth and final is raving fan. So this is where we get to think about what is the current value you're providing your clients, and be really, really like remove your ego from this for a second, because this is just you having to think about this by yourself. Are you under delivering? Is there anywhere in your business, and I can absolutely put my hand up and say like, yeah, there's some things that we probably missed the mark on, right? Like we've absolutely not gotten exercise programs to clients on time before. Yep. And I totally put my hand up and go, I fucked up, right? Am I delivering in some areas and just hitting the mark, right? Like I get the program, it's great, we do the session, but like I'm not really going above and beyond. Is there anything in your business where you're like, yep, I'm delivering, but there's nothing wow about it? Or are you over delivering right now? And if you are, can you create more of those opportunities? Okay. The activity that we go through in the client journey masterclass, one of them, we have probably like 5 or 10 different activities, but one of them is talking about a 6-star experience when we're talking about these wow moments. So for a second, have a think about what if you could charge 10 times what you're currently charging your client? Like add an extra 0 to what you're charging, right? And then to be able to charge that, what would you have to do? And this is just a thought experiment. Like you get crazy with this. We did this and it was like you could get a limo to pick up your clients for their sessions. You could go to their house and you get a chef and, you know, they'd have tea waiting for them and their favorite song playing for the start of the session. And like they'd have 2 spotters and they'd have like a pamper session afterwards and there'd be a complimentary sauna, like get wild, right? But just allowing yourself to think bigger for a second and then come back and go, okay, what of that is feasible? Like, could I have their favorite music playing? Yeah. Does that cost me anything? No. Right? Like, but it's such a nice thing. Like, imagine if your client walked into your session, or, you know, let's say that even you're on Zoom, you have like a little photo of like their face, or I don't know, like their favorite celebrity on the wall behind you, and you're like, I got this for you. I don't know, like doesn't have to be something that is lots of money or lots of time even, but it's just that, hey, I thought of you. It's a bit of personalization perhaps, but it's also like having a tea ready for them, or something that can be really, really simple as like, of course, like, yeah, checking in with your clients, but like ask them about their life, right? Just randomly call them one day and be like, hey, just want to check in. How you going personally? No, you mentioned that you're having a tough time right now. We didn't really have time to talk about it in our session. I just wanted to make sure you're okay. Yeah, like that is a fucking wow experience. Like we rock up to our clients' allied health sessions. So we would like go to the physio with our client with everyone's permission and go and be there for that appointment at no charge to anyone. We would just go to learn and to get a great result for the client to make sure everyone was on board. Like, could you do that? Is that something that you could make a priority? And if you're charging more for it, then you wouldn't need to have as many clients. You wouldn't need to be back to back. And so you could do some of these things some of the time, right? So when you have a think now, we've gone through those 4 stages, which is retain, refer, renew, and raving fan. For each of those stages, I want you to take some time to map out or just have a think about what does it currently look like for your client's journey in each of those stages? What do you do for them? Okay. And then are there any changes that you would like to make? Right? What changes would you like to make in terms of retention? Do you maybe not really set very clear expectations? Do you maybe wait 7 days to provide a ton of value in their first session? And could you move that forward into that really critical 48-hour window, right? When it comes to referring, could you ask for referrals more often? Could you ask for referral after the sale, right? And this may come up for you and you might be like, Zenia, but they just asked, they paid me money and I don't really want to ask right now. That is the time when people are most likely to refer, right? You think about this in any other business, like you finish a sale online and it's like, hey, 10% off your next order, right? Like no shame with this, but also no shame because they know that they just gave you great value and you fucking loved it enough to pay for it. So we've got to get out of our own way because we don't feel like it's icky when it happens to us. But for some reason, as business owners, I find that there's this different mentality and we need to shed ourselves of that and the mindset of that because it's holding us back from the results and the outcomes that we can get our clients. And that's the thing that we need to move through so that we can help more people and create better impact for those that we serve and the whole fucking reason that we're in this industry. Okay. Then we have renew. right? Are you future pacing your clients currently, constantly, I should say, and talking about the renewal process 4 to 8 weeks out from that end of the thing? And that's also if it's a 12-week program, right? At the probably like 6 week mark, you want to be like, what are you planning on doing? After this, I was thinking we could do X, Y, Z, right? Just starting to plant the seeds, right? You don't have to be like, sign here 4 weeks in. Don't have to, that's okay. Do you have ascension ladders or descension ladders or horizontal ladders? And then the raving fan, what would be your 6-star experience? And where are you over or under delivering? And how could you do more or less of that? Okay. So I hope you've got a ton from this. If you want to dive deep on this live replay of our, I think it was like 90-minute client journey practical masterclass where I go activities and we do live integrative like interactions and I help support people, then click the link in the show notes. And if you want to see me on Ninja Warrior, I'm going to put that in the show notes too. Until next time, move swiftly.
I have a tiny favor to ask of you, and that is to just hit that subscribe button if you have not done it yet. If you've made it this far, then I hope that this has been valuable for you and for us to get more incredible guests in front of your earlobes and faces. If you're watching us on YouTube, then please do that now. And if you have any feedback or suggestions for me or something that was a golden nugget that really stood out to you in this episode, I would absolutely love if you flicked me a message over on Instagram at Xenia Wood Official. Until next episode, and in whatever you do, move swiftly.